on a radio show in Iowa this week. The twice impeached, twice indicted former president says it would be, quote, very dangerous if special counsel Jack Smith sends him to jail. Trump said that's because his MAGA supporters are more passionate now than they were during the 2016 and 2020 presidential elections. And just this past Tuesday, he also reposted a video from a verified MAGA account, seemingly a direct threat towards all who are driving his legal woes. Just listen to a former president of the United States in his own words.
If you around with us, if you do something bad to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
Now, while this may seem like another typical reaction from Trump, my next guest says the ex-president is actually spiraling with nowhere left to run or to hide. Joining me now is Michael Cohen, former personal counsel to Donald Trump and the principal of the company Crisis X. He's also the host of the Mea Culpa podcast, co-host of the Political Beatdown podcast, and the author of Revenge and Disloyal, two really good books. But Michael, let's talk about your personal experiences with Donald Trump over the years. You know, I wanted to get your reaction to the possibility of a third Trump indictment. It would be his second federal case.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much a guarantee, and I wouldn't be shocked if we ended up seeing a fourth as well. Look, the cases speak for themselves. The information speaks for itself. The documentary evidence speaks for itself. The testimony speaks for itself. So, you know, I don't have to be a great prognosticator to know that Jack Smith, Fani Willis, they know what they have, and they have every intention on filing indictments in these various different cases.
Michael, let's talk about when you did work for Donald Trump, these threats, the threats of physical harm, physical violence. When you were working with Donald Trump, did he ever threaten to harm people in that way? I mean, we've spoken previously, and you've talked about the fact that Donald Trump operated like a mob boss. And, you know, threats of violence usually are veiled and not very direct in that type of mafia setting.
Yeah, remember, it was a little different. When I was working for Trump, it's a myopic real estate development company. It's not the power of the presidency of the United States of America. But, you know, as they say, you know, leopard doesn't change its spots. And so, you know, Donald had a way of doing things which we see every single day now. I certainly experienced it when he was president. What he does is he uses words in order to entice others to do his bidding. So, for example, do you remember when he went after Joe Scarborough, right? Mm-hmm. And he started talking about how Joe was responsible for, I think it was a Hillary Clinton aide who was murdered. And that just created an entire world of trouble and issues for Joe. Then again, let's even take it to when he was sitting for the debate and Megyn Kelly asked him a question. So the answer is, yeah, when I was working for him, as an example, Megyn Kelly, this is when he was in the campaign in 2016. Megyn Kelly had words with him. She ended up having to go into hiding. She fled with her family to New Jersey. And if it wasn't for myself, Roger Ailes, and Sean Hannity, who knows, she'd still be living at that hotel. Donald doesn't. How about all the attacks upon me when I started speaking truth to power? And the man just knows how to speak mob-like so that he, you know, gets his MAGA base riled up. And the problem with them is that you never know what they're going to do. You don't know how unhinged they're going to be and how they're going to react. Heck, let's just look at January 6th as an example.
Well, I was going to say that's kind of his MO, his modus operandi, isn't it? He lets other people do his dirty work for him, hiring thousands of lawyers that he either, you know, doesn't pay, shafts them in terms of not paying them, and then throws them under the bus, calling MAGA rioters to storm the Capitol on 1/6. Even this video that he reposts on Truth Social, it's calls for violence. This is nothing new, but he likes to say the plausible deniability, though, right? Like, Michael, he likes to say,
sure does.
I get so outraged, you guys go do something about it. And when they do something about it, he's like, oh, I didn't ask for that to happen.
Right. I am your supreme leader. I am your Fuhrer. I am your monarch. I am your, you know, your king. Right. Protect the king. Right. That's Donald's MO. And, you know, I see a lot on television now. Oh, Jack Smith, you know, he shouldn't be worried or concerned about Donald Trump making these, you know, these overt threats against him and so on. I would say I disagree. I disagree wholeheartedly. And I'll tell you, I don't care what anybody says. It's sitting in the back of Jack Smith's head because I know, I consider myself to be pretty resilient. And I can tell you it sits in the back of your head because you never know what one of these MAGA maniacs are going to do. You never know who is and who isn't. So every time you walk on the street, every time you go to a restaurant, you don't know if someone wants to come over, shake your hand, or punch you in the back of the head. And that's what Donald wants. He wants to create that chaos. He wants to create this appearance of strength and power that he has over others. It's look, I say it all the time. He is truly a danger to our country and our democracy.
So, Michael, do you think because of the potential for possible harm that somebody like Walt Nauta, who we all know really should be cooperating with the DOJ and the federal government at this point, do you think that's maybe the reason why he hasn't cooperated yet? But kind of a footnote to that question as well to you, Michael. Do you actually think there are people that are cooperating about whom we just don't know?
Yes, absolutely. Look, I've been very vocal on it. It's my opinion. I don't have any, proof to it, but I always believed that Jared and Ivanka have been cooperating with the federal government. There is no way in the world that Jared was able to take down $2+ billion from the Saudis post leaving his position as senior advisor to the president, remembering, of course, it's the son-in-law and the daughter to the former president. On top of that, a couple $100 million here or there from other Gulf Coast countries. At the end of the day, there's no investigation into a guy who was known in the White House as the secretary of everything. He was involved with the pardons. He was involved. Listen, I can't even go through it. He was involved in everything, the secretary of everything. So I do believe so. Now, as to Walt Nauta, I think Walt is a dope. And I say he's dumb simply because look at what's happened to so many other people, myself included. Understand, Walt, you're no different than any of us. Nobody means anything to this guy. He only cares about one thing and one thing only, and that's himself. So Walt will come to he'll have a coming to Jesus moment when Donald throws him under the bus, the same way he's done to me, to Rudy Colludi, Giuliani, and to everybody else in between. Walt is not special, and he will, guaranteed, get tossed under the bus.
Well, it sounds like Walt Nauta is going to join the leagues of the Covfefe boy pretty soon. Michael Cohen, as always, thanks for the transparency and for the honesty. I always appreciate having you here. Thanks.
Good morning. Good to see you.